Prepare for battle.
No more
哪里猜了呀？不要睁眼睛乱说好吗？
This is just pathetic.
Oh, what a beauty! Wish I'd learned how to read.
Okay,
And I think this is probably the hero and the lane to watch is Kasane on this Beastmaster and the AAPL lane. That is very far down my tier list of best safe lane combos. There's no synergy, it's not strong whatsoever, and it's extremely exploitable. So, gotta be careful up there. I think that's the biggest thing for TSM.
Would you say no synergy or little synergy? It is a slow.
Next to no
with cold.
synergy. Yeah. It's definitely not the best. And I wonder if Nouns maybe got a little bit too creative here. It's obviously gonna, I mean, if K1 gets there, it's completely fine. I think this is a good PL game, ultimately, when he gets farmed enough, but the concern you can have here is that if the lanes don't go well, you only really have one hero to fall back on, and that's Gunnar. Because Clockwork position 4, sure he can, you know, do some stuff around the map, but he's not gonna find that many kills himself, and he doesn't have obvious synergies with anything else than the Ice Blast, which might not even be available if the lane goes poorly enough. So all eyes on top lane for me here.
Okay, what are your thoughts? Because we haven't had the chance to officially discuss this on Core Dazzle. We've been seeing it as we see a pause, so we can talk about this a bit more. Do you like this hero as a core?
Yes, I do, and I think it's better as a core on average than as a support with all these changes. I think the Aghanim Scepter on this hero is proving to be incredible. And I'll admit, honestly, I just underestimated the hero in general. Not going into this tournament, but in this patch, I didn't think it was going to be as good as it has been. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this hero, and he has... That's one synergy here that I didn't hear if the panel touched upon this, but the Dazzle PL is actually a classic as a lane duo. They're not laning together. But later on in this game, that heal bomb with Ags on Dazzle as well as the PL illusions can be quite powerful.
Yep, and the constant Graves coming. Of course, the Graves will indicate what the real PL is. I don't know if that's an issue.
True.
I mean, I know that you usually will end up graving them anyway, but that is a downside.
Do you remember when Dazzle Ags gave you AoE Grave?
Cinderin, that hero has been remade more times than any hero in the history of Dota. So yes, I do remember that.
Oh,
it was like
that was not what I was
short
expecting.
nightmare. Very brief.
Yeah, that was not a popular. It's almost impossible to use, but it was good with PL, because then you didn't know which one was real.
That's true. As Bryle will be playing the Primal Beast in the mid lane versus Gunnar, who gets the last pick Earth Spirit again. So something that TSM feel comfortable playing against. I mean, Gunnar did have a very good game, game number 1.
This is a worse Earth Spirit game, though, I would say, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think this mid matchup is not as good as the previous game.
That's first blood for Whitemon. Nicely done from TSM. They are first on the board.
Yeah. So a couple of things about Earth Spirit. His lane matchup is not as good as last game. Still fine. Still going to farm. This hero farms against more or less a couple of really bad ones, but not it. But he's playing against 2 defensive supports that can actually counter him quite well. Demonic Cleansing is very good against this hero that the Shadow Demon will ultimately get either by buying it or getting it from the Tormentor. Phoenix with Sunray can, during the egg, Earth Spirit can't stop that from happening as long as the Supernova goes off, and Phoenix has Shard, that hero has major healing, and above all else, arguably, it's 2 supports that Earth Spirit doesn't just kill and run down, right? Like, he has to, if he goes in, he's going to get Demonic Purge, they're going to have saves for each other, and none of the cores are easy kills either. All of them pretty tanky in their own right, so I don't expect Gunnar to have as free of the games he did last time.
Do you think there's any issue with Nouns lineup being so focused, like the fact that they don't really have a frontliner other than the Earth Spirit? That's your mid laner being your frontliner, whereas before your off laner was Brew, who creates a lot of space in the front lane. Now it's a Dazzle who kind of wants to be in the back to be able to get these Graves off.
I mean, they're trying to compensate for that by having a position 4 that can go in this time, right? Last game was the Skywrath Mage, but now they're putting Lelis on that Clockwork going in, so I do think that can work out, but you're right. In terms of like distributing the farm and having some sort of truly beefy hero, that's probably not going to be the clock. I think his role in this game is setting the fight. His role is going to be dying, it looks like.
Good dead shot. Lelis resigned to his death, trying to do as much damage before he ultimately goes.
Did he pull Timado in there?
Inside the cogs, another right click will be enough. So Moo gets a nice revenge there.
I play a lot of Clockwork. When I use those cogs, they don't get pulled in. That was crazy. That must have been literally on the last pixel that he got pulled in, and otherwise that is not a kill. So very good news for Nouns to get that kill onto Moo there.
I love Earth Spirit. I know people are so sick and tired of seeing this hero, but it's actually so entertaining to watch. Kicking people left, right, and center. All right, how does this matchup go generally, would you say? Because
I think it's
pretty normal mid laners.
Yeah, it's largely a wash. I think Primal might be slightly favored, but
Some good blocks there with the PL illusions from K1, but now Ari has come with that dive and slowing K1 perpetually. Blood Grenade is there as well, and Ari will get credit for that kill. So a good turnaround. We talked about the lack of synergy. I mean, if he was able to block a little bit better, the Cold Feet would have activated.
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's a bit of a trap playing aggressively up here. I think your PLA lane has to just accept that you're not playing for kills, but you should be playing for farm. So try to pull as much as you can, try to get CS, key CS with Lance. And I understand that if you're not putting any sort of pressure, the enemy team's just going to run at you non-stop, right, and just punish you. But trying to dive for kills is not the way to do this, I think. It's just too unlikely to work out. K1, I mean, he was off to a bad game one with his Naga. I think this PL, he has way more CS than he did last game around at this time, but also a hero that is extremely dependent on getting his alone time. Phantom Lancer needs to build up.
A couple of Shadow Demons today, and we just saw that combo there potentially.
Oh, yeah,
that thought as Yamsun getting gone on. Ari and kasane. Like they'll eventually find it, because remember from yesterday, this is an ancient apparition. So kasane will get a freebie. But the Shadow Demon disruption into the calling, very annoying.
Yep.
Like it literally just sets it up to get that auto silence.
Yeah, and considering how long that slow is on the calling as well, it makes it pretty easy for Shadow Demon to at least land 3, if not 4 Shadow Poison stacks. So this lane does have quite a lot of build. I would say it's particularly good at killing tanky offlaners, which Dazzle isn't even. A is trying to find impact somewhere else because it surely isn't happening top.
Now I have a rune there. Gunnar not going to be too happy with that. Level 3 Phoenix coming in for the kill.
Jackpot.
In terms of egg killers this game, I mean, PL, classic.
Yeah.
Kind of it, though.
Yep. And I don't think he'll necessarily have the freedom to hit the egg with the right peel, because there's going to be a lot of things to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Primal Beast is going to be on top of you. You need to not get roared. The calling is a pretty major attack speed slow. So, yeah, I genuinely think Nouns, with the strategy that they picked for themselves this game compared to the first one, this feels like a game where K1 has to get 5 slotted or 6 slotted to really get there. Because the rest of their lineup, it's effectively a turtle game almost, right?
He's
It's
buying
kind
them
of 4 protect 1.
Midas is the first item of that 5, I believe, right?
I mean, I don't mind it, because I think the right read on this game is, all right, guys, me jungle for, 30 minutes.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yamsun trying to go through the
Tarzan
gate,
build.
but he's going to get caught off guard. Bryle's there with the pulverize. Another death for Yamsun. They get a nice D-ward action of their own. Actually, they're just getting it to half HP. Nope, they're actually denying. I guess it's because it's obvious that it's there.
Yeah.
Moo. Give me first item. Is that the normal build? You go right away for the Ags?
It is from mid Dazzle. I would say on offlane Dazzle it varies a little bit, but I don't mind it here. I think Moo's mindset should be, how can I have the biggest impact at 20 minutes? Because that's where the game is going to be decided for Nouns largely. They need to buy time for their PL, and if he goes Midas and plays it slow, I think they just get run over. So he kind of has to have a high impact item, and that's the biggest purchase you can make on this hero for that timing in the game. So it also enables certain things to happen in the game, right? It makes it easier for Clockwork to go for kills because he gets a new killing partner suddenly. AA wants to have that extra damage to find Ice Blast kills, so I just think it's just pretty straightforward to choice here.
Dire's top tower
Stacks here
is
for
under attack.
TSM as we have a two-man smoke from Nouns on their way bottom. Timado obviously the prize possession if they can get him. They get slowed to start out. It's Gunnar going for the rolling boulder. He's going to get a nice damage rock onto Whitemon and Timado, but you can see Bryle has made his way over as well. Up that illusion rune going for the pulverize, and Lelis finally gets the cancellation thanks to that battery assault, but he's going to die inside his own cogs. But Bryle, this will be a very big kill for Nouns, and they'll take that trade any day if they can actually finish him off. Pops the uproar for the extra armor, but he does eventually drop to Gunnar and that magnetize.
They are
Timado
very
low. Blood grenade popped by Whitemon. Timado apparently still wants to fight. That's because he sees an ancient apparition, which usually means a beautiful kick from Gunnar leads to 2 more deaths from TSM.
Ronaldo has arrived.
3 for nothing. That's a soccer reference, I do believe.
Wow, impressive.
Thank you, Cinderin.
Radiant structures.
That was an alley-oop.
That is not a
Dire's
soccer.
top
Okay.
tower is under attack.
That is another sport that shall not be
Radiant's
named.
middle tower is under attack.
Kasane, I mean, why is Beastmaster falling off? I know there were some nerfs. Has that really been enough? Because he was the hero a patch ago, so you can see a little deny here.
Yeah, it's something I've been wondering myself. I don't know if it's because certain meta safe laners just have better lane matchups against Beastmaster than back when he was popular. He got changed a bit, but I thought this hero was really good and was going to be a much, much bigger pick at this tournament than it has been so far. Maybe we're going to come full circle because now, you know, the things that Beastmaster doesn't like dealing with has been figured out, and now we're, you know, banning those out, and he could maybe make a comeback. But
Radiant's bottom tower
it's
is
a good
under
question.
attack.
I love this hero in terms of like just overall power game. You know, a lot of the times it feels very impactful.
10-minute power rune will be top for the shield rune. As Bryle wants to go in deep. He sees a juicy ancient apparition.
Dire's middle tower
Another
is
death
under
for
attack.
Yamsun.
Yamsun is playing AA,
Yes.
so it will die.
Now,
Not specifically
Dire's
because it's
structures are
Yamsun, but because
fortified.
he's playing AA.
yeah, it's nothing to do with the player. It's the hero. It's meant to die. I'm
See,
waiting for the talent that has like a
Dire's middle
death
tower
ice
is under
blast. I
attack.
think that's
Oh.
needed for him.
What about respawning faster? Those were great. Let's bring
everybody-
those back. Everybody loved those.
If you bring it back for supports, maybe not so bad. Mid Lina, though, was not fun.
Dire's
Tier 1 tower
middle
will go the way
has
of
fallen.
TSM. K1 still not quite finished with that Midas.
Yeah. Go for the tread, so obviously it will take a little bit longer, but
You can see his farm in comparison to the Muerta a decent amount behind right now. Bryle, ooh. Smoke pops, he knows that K1's in the area. Gets the pulverize onto the correct one. Sunray actually gets canceled by Ari. Looks like K1 is just done. No way to get out.
K done.
Radiant's bottom
Hey,
tower
done
is
indeed.
under attack.
Yep. Oh, they're trying to make the most of it down bottom. Nouns are by pushing the tier 1 tower in return. They have the siege creep wave, but
Radiant's
being
middle
pulled off
tower
here by
is
the
under
Shadow
attack.
Demon almost kills off the siege creep, but actually the creeps reset position. He's scared of getting dove, so he backed off, and that will
Radiant's
probably lead to this
bottom
tower
is under attack.
falling in the end if Mu tanks it up a little bit longer, but he's careful too. All right,
They want
Gunnar,
White
not
on.
careful.
That is a Shadow Demon. He's actually level 7 right now. Takes an Ice Blast and will drop. Yamsun
Radiant's bottom tower
finally on the
has
board here.
fallen.
Found him wanting.
An assist.
Now we enter that stage of the game that's going to be, for me, the most interesting, probably the most interesting stage of this game is going to be the next 10 minutes. Mu almost has the Ags. PL is absolutely in the jungle, and he will be there
Yes.
for the foreseeable future.
I mean, his farm is
So,
pretty bad right now.
Who
So, yeah.
plays the tempo better? You have this incredible Ags on Dazzle very early. This is so powerful, but the other team has 5
Radiant's
heroes.
bottom
So what's
tower is
better?
under attack.
Is going to be the question.
Well, if it ends up being an even state of affairs, then I think that Ags might be a little overpowered, if you put it that way. But yeah, we'll
K1 is basically going the greediest possible build, right? Midas into Ags. So he is... That is one farming item into the next farming item. Sure, you can show up to fights with this Aghanims, but essentially you still want to just use it for farming as much possible. And it feeds into this idea that PL is playing the 6-slot game here, and that was the plan from the beginning. This doesn't seem like a fallback plan for K1 where he was like, oh man, my lane went really poorly. You picked AAPL, you know what you signed up for. You
Yeah.
were not winning this. So
not sure if they think it would have gone better than it did, but I mean, he's only technically 500 behind
I feel like this is
Timado.
almost par for the course, honestly. I know you're really far behind Beastmaster, right? You're 2k behind, but I think theoretically this lane is just flat out unwinnable. It's, all things considered, not that bad. Like, we're painting this
Midas.
picture of a terrible
Dyer's
PL
top tower
early
is
game,
under
right? But they're
attack.
still even on gold, 2 teams, so they can buy him the time they need because Dazzle's game is this good.
Yep.
And who will now go Midas.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
you know.
surprised they didn't go for earlier, but yeah, makes sense. I mean, the fact that you
I just
can
think-
actually make the cooldown lower, I kind of have to buy it on a core Dazzle, I feel like. This and Ogre, it just feels wrong not to. Even if it griefs the game as an Ogre in some cases, you just gotta do it. Feels too good.
Yeah, well, in this tournament, Ogre has been primarily played mid, so I guess he's been more of a core than a support. I think, I want to say LGD played it support one game on Y, but yeah, it's not been a popular.
Yeah, that is one of the Gunnar heroes. I think he lost
Yep.
that game.
No, well, I think he has both won and lost, if
Okay,
I'm not mistaken,
one and
but
one.
it was one of the games against Tundra that, you know, Nouns were kind of the silent assassins of this tournament where
Dyer's
everyone was
middle
like,
tower
okay,
is
Nouns
under
made it out of
attack.
groups. Maybe some people didn't expect them to do that well, and then they go into the bracket, and then they beat Tundra, and then all eyes were on them suddenly, like, okay, these guys are the real deal. And one of those games that they won, they played the mid
Radiant
Ogre, so
are scanning.
deservedly so. I feel like Nouns are getting a lot of attention and a lot of praise from fans, because not only are they winning matchups that on paper are not favorable, but they pick cool stuff.
Lelis. Oh, he actually took shots away, but Gunnar wants to go
okay.
in. He's going to take a primal roar for his efforts. AA Blast is coming in. He's going to clip 2. Disruption there for the time being, and you can see Primal Beast has made his way over. Nice grave onto Gunnar. Can he stay alive for a longer period of time, though? They find the Shadow Demon to start, but there's the trample and the onslaught from Bryle to take their prized possession. And they're going to go for the Dazzle as well. So 2 core kills for TSM, and all they lose
Radiant
is the
structures
5 Shadow
are
Demon.
fortified.
All right, they won the 5v4, so Dazzle Ags may yet be fine. We're worried about it.
Yep, very worried for
Dyer's
another
bottom
redesign
tower
of
is
Dazzle.
under attack.
That was a
Dyer's
betting man,
turret
Cinder.
has been killed.
This time next year might be an entire different hero again. Maybe Shallow Grave will be passive then.
I miss Weave. I do.
That was a boring one though. I can understand.
I
that,
understand it's a polarizing ability. I always thought it was really cool, but I'm also a boring and weird person.
That is true.
I like Venomancer, so that says a lot
Okay,
about me.
stop talking right now. Thank you for joining us.
Your least favorite hero in Dota is Lion.
That's right. That's more personal than anything.
Very interesting.
Well,
Fortunately for you, it hasn't been played this tournament. So
thank
that's great.
God. Lelis only 1,500 away from his Aghanim Scepter, which is kind of a crazy. We'll talk about that when he actually picks it up. The old overclock.
Yep.
I mean, looking at the net worth, this game is pretty even, all things considered.
It is.
I think Nouns are, if they knew that, they'd be pretty happy with the current state.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations that it's kind of interesting because, you know, historically you sometimes look at games where you're like, okay, this hero is pretty good against PL, this hero is pretty good against PL. But like PL, unless he's like double or triple counter, he ultimately reaches the point of, you know, it's becoming too
Dyer's
much of a
top
nuisance.
tower is
Even
under
if,
attack.
let's say Mercer, you're like, yeah, she's pretty good against the users because of the Veil, he can't hit her. He just kites her, you know, and then you just
Radiant's
outlast
middle
all the
tower is
problems you
under
have, and then eventually it's too much. So I do think if this becomes a 6-slotted PL, I fear for TSM's ability to solve this hero. Because despite, you know, you look at Phoenix, you're like, yeah, the egg is good and Wertz is good. Just run away, you know?
Yeah.
Just run and then turn and win.
Radiant's
So
middle tower is under attack.
Primal Beast is a little bit of a wild card in that with the Ags. I think that can maybe push it over the edge.
His Ags, I mean, Mjolnir eventually on Huerta. You have Drums of Slom eventually for Beastmaster.
Drums of Slom, true. That is also
I
another one.
assume
So maybe, yeah, you're
They'll
right.
want,
I
they'll
didn't
want
account
some
for the
sort of
drums.
a Shiva's carrier. I mean, theoretically, Phoenix would want to go for. I know he's going to be able to afford it, but I don't think there's really a Radiance holder on TSM unless they really force. I mean,
True.
theoretically, Phoenix does like to go for it in some cases, but this is support.
The Drums of Slum are a really good point, actually. I think that's kind of the thing that could push it over the edge where TSM have enough solutions. But Kasane did deviate from it. He planned it, and now he's quick buying out a pipe instead. So maybe TSM with a little bit of a played even faster mindset does look to push this 5. A lot of teams have failed to do that successfully in this tournament. Going high ground is very difficult for most. And Nouns do have a lineup that will ultimately be quite hard to push into. You've got Shadow Wave from really far away that does a lot of damage. You can get kicked into base. Clockwork is always going to be a problem for displacement. And while you do have a save in the Shadow Demon, you don't have a repositioning save like, say, Nether Swap
Dire's
or
bottom tower is under
a
attack.
full-on hard save that, like Oracle, to just get people out of trouble.
Dire's
So
bottom tower has fallen.
it does feel like this game is likely to get decided on Nouns' high ground at some point, one way or the other. The question is when TSM want that to be. Obviously not 18 minutes, and that is definitely not going to be the case, but
Radiant
this is likely
are
just going to be a
scanning.
farming Aegis, right? Like, how do you use this one on where to just set up?
Still 3 tier 2s available for the taking. TSM, they're trying to look for a pick-off first,
Dire
though.
are scanning.
Taking down an observer, but gaining any vision on a
Radiant's
enemy hero
top
quite
tower
yet.
is under attack.
So we are about 1 minute 20 seconds away from Torment time.
Well, Dazzle can
Very
solo that, worth keeping in mind.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Bryle.
Radiant are
The onslaught to
scanning.
the other side of the trees. They're going to find Moo. Can he get off his ult? Yes, he does, right on the wall. They have enough damage, indeed. That was a Veil of
Radiant's top
Discord, I
tower is
believe.
under attack.
I'm surprised he didn't get off the grave there, but yeah, the Veil just barely got them across.
Very nice pick off. I mean, that's the thing about these fights. I feel like you kind of have to kill
Dire's
Dazzle
bottom
first, no matter
tower
what,
is under
right?
attack.
Yeah, that seems to be a great recipe to enter the fight. So you don't have exactly the best catch if he's in a good position. Like Primal can technically go dagger and jump, but do you have the follow through burst?
Dire's bottom tower is fallen.
You know, something like a Sky Raft, you know, so just pile on him and just blast him during the Primal ult, but maybe it's not necessary. Like, maybe it's going to be more of a maneuverability thing where you try to just flank and set up the fight under the right terms, and then sure, maybe Dazzle gets a grave off, but if he's out of the fight because he hasn't playing offensively, that might be good enough. Side of TSM. They really want to steal this Tormentor. I think this is the perfect play on the map. It's obviously, you're already over here because you took the tower, but you also know you're playing against Dazzle, so this is effectively a
Dire's middle
3k
tower
net
is
worth
under
play.
attack.
You get 1400 and they don't.
Nouns have an idea that this is happening.
Radiant's top tower
Heavy Aghanim
is
Scepter
under
now online for the Clockwork. Kasane is going to get initiated on the AE crash. It's coming. He's Spirit Vessel as well. He does get out the roar. It's still going to be finding enough distance to get away for now. Hook shot again.
Oh, that's
on
a good Hawk.
Destroy that Hawk. Destroy him now. Delicious meat for everyone. Looks like Gunnar's on a really far away from the rest of his team. Trying to get on Kasane, but he just dies.
He died to poisons, right?
And somehow Kasane, the one initiated upon, lives through the day.
That's a value pipe there, I have to say. He does not live without that. But yeah, the Hawk, more so than anything, really saved his life. It blocked the hookshot line, and Lelis obviously ends up self-stunning from the overclocking, so he can't really pursue any further. Well, they didn't get the Tormentor. At the very least, they found a core kill, and they keep control of the area. It looks like they're not going to give it up under any circumstance. They're staying around.
Yeah, they love Torment time.
Radiant's
Understandable.
middle tower
Bryle
is under
throwing a bit of a
attack.
tantrum here.
They got the Wisdom Rune. That's what he was really
Yeah,
wanting to get.
and I guess now they have to dip because they're too low.
They'll have to concede the Torment to Nouns, because it is theirs after all.
Yeah.
Now enough vision from those rocket flares to be able to secure this one for themselves.
Comes the full squadron of flying donkeys,
Will they
rams,
the
and
jetpack? Yes.
what's
they
that?
will.
What's this dog called again?
What dog?
The courier, the clockwork hat. It's from a video game, right?
Go ahead.
Can I not remember this? It's called Courier. That's right.
Okay, yeah, that
There we
makes
go. Yes.
Gunnar 2,000 gold into his eventual heart right now. TSM sporting just a 1k lead. I mean, what kind of lead would you want if you're a TSM fan? I mean, is there a certain threshold, like you should be up by this amount at this point, or is it not that simple?
I think it's hard to say how much you should be up by, but I don't think 1k is really necessarily enough. PL is, once again, he has 0 assists. I don't know if K1 has over 1,000 hero damage yet. Probably not. But he's slowly but steadily getting to a point where he can start entering fights. And with that in mind, if you've kind of like drawn, as we talked about, more or less 4v5, how are the fights going to look when this guy actually turns up, right? So I don't feel overly confident that this first 20 minutes for TSM has been successful enough. But I also think in this patch it's very difficult to necessarily pull that off, and that's why perhaps that's part of the reason teams are shying away from a hero like Beastmaster, that they feel like they cannot accomplish enough of what this hero is known for, which is taking over the map and dominating in the first half hour. Maybe players have just got too good at playing the map. Hard to say. Obviously, a bit of a factor in this. There's two Midases side of Nouns, right? One of them is Dazzle, so he will use it way more than other heroes.
Radiant's
So a lot of
middle tower is
quote-unquote
under attack.
fake gold. These two Midases are worth almost nothing in terms of teamfight prowess, so arguably in power level, you're behind by 6k. But that's only if you,
Radiant's middle
are
tower
forced to
has
fight.
fallen.
As long as you can keep using them passively, be A-okay. And yeah,
Timado
win
has
expectancy in the
50 now.
game is effectively just a flat-out 50.
Yeah, it's definitely a close one. See if they end up going for some of the itemization we were talking about against the PL. But right now, I mean, PL is not that big of an issue until he gets to a certain point.
I think
Yes, Ag,
man to
beautiful.
heart will be a problem. Till then, you probably have him decently under control. K1 is a very seasoned player on this hero, so he understands when it's a game where he doesn't join at all. Like he's, I think a lot of players will be tempted to join fights once they have their defusal, right? It's like, okay, now I have my fighting item. It's not going anywhere. It's still farming. His quick buy currently is Manta into Lincolns into Heart. I guess looking for some protection against the Primal Roar and the Pulverize. I want to say he's probably still going to pick up the Heart first.
You're telling me he has patience.
Oh, yeah.
He has two Midases on his team. He has to have patience.
Yeah.
You have to.
Dire are scanning.
There we go. He's actually going for Lincolns after the Manta.
Only someone would have told you that 20 seconds
Dire's
ago.
Yeah, it looks like
middle
Lincolns
tower
is going to be
is
the
under
choice here,
attack.
Simmer. I'm not sure if you're aware
I
of
think
that.
he's buying the Heart first.
Tier
somebody
2
told.
tower. Looks like it's TSM's for the taking.
Yep.
Nouns just
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
waiting for the inevitable push into the
Radiant's
high
bottom
ground, which
tower is
I don't
under
think it's
attack.
coming
maybe,
here, though.
Yeah, they might just take that tier 2, then hope that Roche has spawned, but we can see it's a very, very late Roche spawn timer, which benefits
Radiant's
Nouns, I
bottom
would think.
tower is under attack.
I wonder what Moo makes of this fight here. I mean, what were your options? Could have got Octarine. Yes, you just want to, position yourself as well as possible, so just staying further away with this. Spamming his Midas and Fountain. Nice.
He's got to use those spells. Get that cooldown on Midas, all he cares
Dire's
about.
top tower is under attack.
Next tier 2 tower, and in fact, the final tier 2 tower for Nouns will be uncontested as well.
Dire's top tower.
Kasane is going to be greeted by the Ice Blast.
Radiant's
He has,
bottom tower is under
yeah,
attack.
about 150 gold away from finishing his Ag, so Drums of Slom,
Yeah.
which we've seen that work against TL. I know it's been nerfed since then. Still relatively good skill against the hero in general. That was with like Bloodstone,
Radiant
and that
are
was a
scanning.
Yeah.
kind of an older school build, I think.
Yeah, and I guess you can't. You're probably unlikely to buy Bloodstone because you're against AA.
And it's up.
Alright.
Well, it's completely out of mana. Yamsun existing, which I don't think Bryle's too happy about. You're gonna have
He's
to wait.
playing AA.
He is.
He is actually probably set a record for this tournament, playing AA for 10 consecutive minutes without dying.
He only has 3 deaths. That's
Yeah.
impressive. Considering how aggressive the TSM lineup is.
Solid.
Credit.
Yeah, he's got a half Midas, so he's chilling,
Oh, he's back to the half Midas again. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 and that seems to be the average amount for Nouns.
Yep.
Somewhere between 2.5 and 4 Midases.
So somewhere between 2.5 and 4 means the average is 2.5 is what you're saying.
Depends on the weight distribution.
We can't all attend our classes.
Yeah.
I got you covered. You want to have one guess of what the...
3.25?
You didn't miss that one.
Huh?
You didn't miss that one.
Smart.
That is
Pretend to be
very
for you.
much up for debate.
I mean, it's the only way to make you look good. Me being a complete moron. Heart now online.
I have been
For Gunnar.
pretending for 7
My whole life I've been
Radiant's
saying.
middle tower is under
Life
attack.
is easier this way.
Your eulogy is just, it was just a prank, bro. Was that
Nerds.
smart? All this time.
Gunnar very, very tanky now. More for the SNK. Bryle about to finish his Heart as well. Still about 800 away from the recipe itself, as we can see Roche is about to spawn. Kasane pretty happy about that, banging on his drums.
Regeneration.
It'll be nighttime for the foreseeable future, so Roche will likely just be taken out by TSM. And I think this is the
Radiant's
Roche,
bottom tower
the Aegis
is
they
under
have
attack.
to use well. Or
Radiant
else I think they might be in
structures
some
are
trouble.
fortified. Dire's
It's easier
top
said than
towers
done,
are
though. I think it's kind of hard for their lineup to go high ground because the only hero that can truly siege is Muerta. And if there's one thing this hero absolutely hates, it's displacement, right? When you get thrown out of position,
That's a nice blast.
I mean, they're just going to pipe through it and kill it, right? But they know there's no contention.
Roshan has fallen
The
to
problem
the
is, if you get hookshot or if you get kicked into base by Earth Spirit, you're probably losing your first life off that alone,
Radiant's
right? Or at
bottom
the very
tower
least, you're forced to use your
has
ult, and that might be enough to just break up the fight and delay. And while that is happening, you're facing Peel Lance spam, you're facing Shadow Wave spam, and you're
Radiant's
facing them
bottom
both at the
tower
same
is under
time, which is
attack.
even worse, because the Shadow Wave is going to bounce on the Peel illusions as well as the enemy heroes. So as soon as he lances and it bounces twice, which the Axe does, you just have this like extremely annoying wall to get through. You are going to go for it. This is the moment of truth for TSM. I feel like if they get
Radiant's
forced
middle
back
tower
here,
is under attack.
or even worse, take a very bad fight.
Yeah, you can. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
So much
demonic
spam
cleansing.
between the poison touch shadow waves and these rocket flares constantly coming out.
I've always wanted to be a giant spacecraft.
That's not right.
Like, yeah, we don't really have to do much to get you off our front door steps.
Radiant's middle
I mean, at the
tower
very
is
least, they
under
brought
attack.
back K1. I actually thought he was just going to stay mid for a bit and that they would be spamming them out with just the rockets and the dazzle, but Nouns feel like Peel is needed, and I think it was the right call. Back,
Perhaps
so.
waiting for this heart on Bryle. Still not quite
Radiant
finished with
are
it.
scanning. Dire are scanning.
TSM are scanning and hoping to find someone, but they could not be further away from the enemy team at this point, basically, while still playing aggressively on the map. And arguably, they have to go bottom at some point, too, because this wave coming in is going to start being relatively sizable. If any of Nouns' cores shows up there, that will force a rotation. I think TSM will have to give up positioning a little bit here. Timado already TPing mid. This rocket spam. Overclocking is great on clock when you don't have to fight, and you could just use it for farming. Feels nice. You know,
right.
Sure, the stun drawbacks, kind of whatever. You know, you just keep spamming rockets on the waves, farming up your PL ever so quietly.
Have we seen more than one roar this game?
Well,
Well, his spell icons sure are small.
he has roared the Earth Spirit
He had
bottom.
6 on there. Goodness.
And
Like he's playing on mobile or something.
I think he might have roared twice.
Twice? Okay, sure. Still not that many times for 30 minutes in the game. This goes to show how Nouns has kind of been playing keep away
Yep.
to some degree from TSM. Waiting for their critical mass point, which PL... Let's see, he has the heart done in 400 gold or 600 gold.
What do you think is going to go after Heart? Do you think Lincoln?
Lincoln's, I think so, yep.
Probably a good choice here.
Problem?
Many,
But Lincoln's ain't one of them.
but you ain't one. There you go.
Bryle and company looking for an opening and get to this high ground. It's 2 minutes left on the Aegis. They do need to try to do something with this. Apparently PL within a few feet of another enemy hero. Not sure if you've seen that the entire game, other than the first death in the laning stage. A lot of creep kills since then.
I really hope the crowd is going to go wild for K1's first assist. That's what
Right.
I want, guys. If there's one thing...
0, 2, and 0, but 425 creep kills. That's a lot.
If I can ask this one thing of the crowd, be the loudest you've been all event for K1's first assist here. That would be really funny to me.
Making mistakes.
Just hold your breath. It's not going to happen just yet. Okay? We're waiting a
Radiant's
bit.
top
Waiting for his
tower
Lincoln,
is
I
under
think.
attack.
Yeah, we might be. Also queued up the Shard, as well as a Disperser.
Oh, Torment time.
Oh, yeah.
They're big fans of stealing enemy Tormentator. Cross between
Tormentor and Commentator. It's you.
Tormenting our audience. Bryle will get his rocks ready to throw.
Yep. Another spell against PL. It all adds up.
Getting there.
I need to see him first. It's hard to throw rocks at things you can't see.
Oh, you can throw them, but they're not going to connect. Sure. It looks like Timado's Aegis will not be used for really too much. I mean, you have all the outer towers, but you had those already. See the lead technically on Nouns side, but still, this feels like a 50-50 game. The later it goes, maybe not so much.
It's hard to say. I mean, I've built up this PL. We haven't really talked too much about the other cores, but obviously Earth Spirit is really big now at this point as well. Kasane coming up. You've got the Dazzle almost with Octarine. Mu is quietly farming up a Storm as well, but obviously TSM, they have 3 of the top 4 net worths in the game on their cores. But there is a significant distance between the Clockwork and the supports of the Radiant. That could turn into a bit of a deciding factor here, that Lelis will just keep farming more than the enemy supports on the map with that overclocking. Just spamming out waves, keeping his net worth growing. He's 3,500 net worth ahead of the Phoenix, which is a lot at this point. That has bought him a Halberd. Not a very common item to see nowadays, but obviously nice against Muerta.
Absolutely.
And he's going Lotus next.
Yeah, those rocket flares have to be one of the most annoying things to deal with. To the point where I mean, I guess I do, but most people probably couldn't even name what the Ags does for the other skills. It feels like Rocket Flare is the main reason that you buy that item.
It is. I mean, to be fair, it does quite a lot of things.
I mean, I want to see the day when the cogs giving attack speed becomes an actual thing. You go like some crazy right-click build on Clockwork. Sounds like fun.
Do you mean just the base spell?
Yeah. No, it's part of the Ags. Like the reason you buy the Ags.
Oh, you mean, okay, you know it already does it, but you want people to itemize it specifically.
Correct.
Yeah, I think if the drawback wasn't a 4-second self-stun, that might be a thing, but it is hard because
minor details.
You pop it, you go in, and then you stun yourself for a long time when you're really starting to get some kills.
Hey, Lincoln's is done. It looks like 6 items are finished on K1.
All right.
Is he ready to fight? As the crowd goes wild, anticipation
no assist.
for the first assist of the game for K1.
Take it easy.
He might need to wait for the shard, though.
We're not there yet.
And then Disperser after that, and then maybe need to, you know, consume the Ags and then buy another item. So there might still be some time to wait.
He has room to grow.
12-6 at 35 minutes in the game.
Fun fact, it was also 12-6 at 25 minutes into the game.
That is...
And at 20 minutes into the game. The last kill was minute 21, I think.
Wow.
Am I wrong? No. The last kill was... Whitemon killed Gunnar. Minute 20.
K1 has killed a tower. That doesn't count as an assist, technically speaking, but we'll give it to him. He has bought the shard now.
Here comes Kasane, so K1's out of there.
Okay, now.
Shard coming up.
Got a shard on Kasane as well, by the way, so...
Yep.
Got a zoo.
Extra Hawk. Shadow Demon. I think Whitemon should be farming more, or stacking more, to be honest. I think if you're playing this kind of stalemate game, the supports have to follow through and really get there too. And it just looks like Nouns are getting more value out of that. Keep in mind, you're getting out-farmed by Shadow Demon, or by AA as Shadow Demon, right? Like, AA has nothing to farm with except Philosopher's Stone. So if Shadow Demon was actually focusing on stacking camps or farming wherever his cores aren't, I think Whitemon could be looking at 2k more net worth.
Oh, the roll-in. Will we have a kill in this game?
Here he comes.
Oh,
okay, Gunnar
really wants to find Kasane. He will kick him back into the Lotus Fountain, and K1 is doing damage to something that's not a creep. But he's going to try to get out of dodge now. He's not interested in fighting. He still wants more items to work with. Gets the Spirit Lance out. As Timado ready to do some damage here. No kill yet, ladies and gentlemen. Might have to wait a bit. Nouns resetting now. Forgot how to actually fight. Onto Mr. Earth Spirit, the Primal Roar to follow. A Blast is coming, doing a nice amount of damage with the trample, but he's going to get graved. And Gunnar still being surrounded by Bryle. Not sure if he can actually get away from this. As Timado pops the ult, dealing so much damage to K1. Still doesn't have a kill or an assist, and now he has to run away in shame. Invisible right now. Nice hook shot with 2 in the cogs from Lelis. Beautifully done as the cheeses pop. Bryle is very healthy. We'll take a disarm there from that halberd. That's going to be 3 deaths for Nouns. They kill off everyone other than K1, and somehow the Ancient Apparition lives just to taunt us. K1, he's not finished farming yet. Still needs a few more minutes, Cinderin.
That was a great fight from TSM, I have to say. They did a really good job weaving in and out, playing around the perimeter of the fight. Got a lot of value out of the drums of Slom and the pipe on Beastmaster. Kasane tanked so much in that fight. And they just keep him alive. They have the supports protecting. Timado gets quite a bit of freedom.
K1 pretending that he actually wants to chase here. We all know that's not going to be the case. Eventually, he will run away.
Sunray.
And there we go. Forcing out 1 spell, and that's enough. Back to the creeps.
Radiant's middle tower
Structural
is under
damage.
attack.
Yep, a little bit.
It adds up. But that was honestly kind of
Radiant's
important for
bottom
TSM to
tower is under
experience this
attack.
fight and recognize that, okay, finally, if they do give us the fight, we can win it, right? They win it cleanly.
Radiant's middle
They're gonna,
tower
as
is
the
under
reward,
attack.
probably going to get the Roshan here unless Nouns can get over there. And it kind of is playing out the way we were
Radiant's
predicting,
bottom
right?
tower
Like,
is under
PL is
attack.
going to force spells and then keep kiting forever, but if he can't
Radiant's
ultimately
middle
pierce through
tower
heroes
has
after
fallen.
that, it's all for naught. Like, the Supernova went out, Beastmaster used everything, and while PL didn't die, his teammates weren't able to distance themselves. They actually kept going in, try to set up the PL, but he wasn't strong enough to commit. So Lelis kind of killed himself going in, Gunnar died, and ultimately they ran down Mu as well, I should point it out. So maybe,
Disperser finished on K1.
yeah,
Now all he can do is consume the Ags and maybe upgrade the treads.
do you reach, like, what is the last item here? Is it Butterfly? Is it Swift Blink? Like, so you could just,
I mean, you don't really need boots on this hero, right? In
not
late game.
necessarily true. So
Especially with Disperser as well.
yeah, so maybe what he identified in the last fight when he was halfway through it was, I can't kill a core. I need to
They
kill
wanna-
supports first.
I think they want to contest this. AA Blast is coming. A bunch of illusions now from K1. Gonna get gone on by Bryle, who has that Aghanim Scepter, so the uproar, something you do have to worry about if you're Nouns. Pipe gonna dissipate here relatively shortly as Roche is at half HP. K1 pretending to go in. He's gonna get roared. Lincoln's broken. There's the roar. He's dead. 80 seconds of no PL. Not much difference in this game because he's not gonna be hitting creeps at least. That's the big difference, but hasn't really been a PL this game, it feels like. As now Roche is available for TSM, and this is a big one. This is Refresher Shard. You could wait 15 seconds to get the Ags, but they're not taking chances.
There's just no way around it. That's just a blunder. Like, he's going in. His teammates are nowhere near to save him. There was no hook shot for a save. There's no Force Staff. There's no grave. Mu has Dagger and Force Staff, and he still couldn't grave him. So
Radiant's
K1
middle
was
tower is under
way
attack.
far ahead there. We're going to see the replay here, so... Like,
Dire are
That
scanning.
was really quick between the Lincolns breaking and the Pulverize, like super fast. Like, I was just ready to play Dota. All right, back to hitting creeps. 30 seconds. As Bryle
Dire's top
now
tower
not
is
scared
under
at
attack.
all.
Dire's
Going for this
top
high ground
tower
push as Mu try to spam everything out. Fortifications pop. Muerta still with that Aegis because she literally just picked it up. Hasn't died since then, in case you're wondering.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
This is going to be a set of racks, I do believe. 13 seconds left on K1. Another fortification, so they do want to defend his melee racks. As there's an overclock activation. Dockrook wants to go in here. Mr. Lelis. They will be able to defend the melee rack, so that's pretty big for Nouns. And now PL is back.
maybe the thing that Nouns needs, we've been focusing so much on the PL, maybe the key thing here is unlocking Gunnar, who seems to be struggling with initiating fights because the turnaround potential, we talked about how this isn't the best Earth Spirit game compared to the previous one. He seems to have a hard time going in because if he goes in, he's going to get roared and just blasted, right? But when the BKB comes out, he's going to be able to ignore a ton of damage. He's going to take way less from the Primal. He's going to take way less from the Beastmaster, and the Shadow Demon and Phoenix in particular are going to be doing way less to him. So maybe for Nouns, that is what you're hoping for to get him in. But essentially, you need long fights, right? You need them to drag out so that PL can keep poking, and you need to find supports. Because you're not killing the cores. They're too tanky. Beastmaster has this huge tanking build. Primal speaks for itself, right? And Muerta, half of the fights, Timado has Aegis. So, not really going to be an easy target either for them. So
It feels
TSM?
like their whole lineup for Nouns is just like poking
Yeah.
in and out. They don't really have this guy that's just going to go in and kill everyone.
Lelis overclocked.
Radiant are
Yes,
You got
he did.
stunned.
He is self-stunned. Going to hook shot to safety. Gets onto the other wall.
Nice
Will
escape.
be fine. K1. I really do wonder how much damage he has done this game.
I mean, he's starting to lance spam quite a lot,
Yeah.
so it's going to add up.
See? 14.
More than Gunnar by now.
That is, I mean, I guess that's not that surprising considering Gunnar, he can't really fight without
Right,
a steal at this
he
point.
can't really go. He's going to complete his BKB now for the upcoming fight. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him queuing up a Linken's next, because you need that freedom of movement in these fights as Earth Spirit. You need to be able to run in, pop your BKB, and not get roared. So you can get off all your spells at least once. back to base here. Let's see if TSM fancy going here. 2 minutes on their Aegis is plenty to try to get something done.
Rock throw actually will hit. Got to get rid of that Linken's first, though. What is their best Linken's breaker this game?
Probably Demonic Purge.
So Bryle jumps in. Blast will clip him barely as there's the roar, this time expended for Gunnar. You can see Moo on the outskirts ready to grave at any point. Before he gets to half HP, be able to use the BKB and roll away. Another grave to come just to make sure. Pretty tense moment here as TSM distracted by the fact that Tormentor is available. They really love this Tormentor.
Like
Still, even at this stage, going high ground is quite difficult.
They don't actually have Phoenix Shard.
Torment time.
They should really try to get this game.
They might. 50-50. There we go. All right. That is a very good one.
How was that a 50-50? The only shard they didn't have.
Yep, 50-50. Between him and the enemy.
Is that another comeback mechanic? There's 50% chance you get nothing by breaking the torment. Okay. Makes sense.
40 seconds on the Aegis. Timado.
He is progressing. I mean, they're getting some damage in.
Yep, it's gonna happen eventually, you would think.
Curse this stupid guns.
Versus endless.
Oh my god, this is
My god, so much damage. All right, well, Bryle
is
trying to put a stop to this, but he goes in with his BKB and nobody's with him. Now hightailing away, and I think TSM are just gonna back away knowing that this Aegis is gonna expire in 20 seconds. They don't want to be caught in a weird spot. They still have the refresher shard, by the way, and it is on the Phoenix.
All right, Aegis is out. Play the map probably until next rush for TSM. I just think high grounding is genuinely impossible for them without an Aegis. It's just so difficult. So essentially what you're hoping to do at this point is keep control of the map, smoke out at some points, and if you find and kill PL, that is where you force high ground and get a buyback. Because if K1 is out, the defense is not possible. His spam is way too important for holding them off. And if they were to find him now, he wouldn't have buyback, so they would actually just end the game. Like they're in the right area to happen.
Back to the spam. K1 looks like Bloodthorn will be the choice.
Okay.
So either going to consume the Ags or just ditch the treads.
Probably ditch the treads first, you would imagine, right? It's too expensive to go the other way around. Approaching his 25 talent. Do we have any of those? We do have the Muerta one. Magic resist. One of the less
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
creative ones.
But very good. Bryle can be found out. Well, on to the other side. We're going to have a fight here. Whitemon's going to get some action with Gunnar as he puts himself in a very precarious spot. And Timado's going to pop his ult and then trying to delete Gunnar, but the grave comes out just at the last moment. See if another grave will come from Moo if he even needs it on Gunnar, but they're going to lose the Shadow Demon from the TSM side first.
K1 got in his
K1, great job for K1 as Bryle trying to get away with that BKB. The pipe is still activated, so mitigating a lot of damage. Going to pop the cheese as well, so will live through the day. The first egg comes through, healing up Timado. Kasane gets off the roar onto the newly minted 1 assist on the Phantom. Okay, Mr. Phantom Lancer, K1, trying to poke K1 from afar. See the rocket players from the south as Gunnar gonna get sheeped mid-rolling boulder. Very weird fight, very segregated overall as K1 now focusing his efforts onto Ahri. Looks like that's gonna be the kill. As Gunnar now continuing the pressure as Kasane gets to the high ground. Gonna have buyback here potentially coming out. There's a big A blast comes in, will hit Kasane, and somehow Nouns kill 4 heroes. I thought they forgot how to do that halfway through this game, but they've remembered. But they do lose a set of racks in the top.
Damn, look at that damage from Dazzle. He actually did more damage than the PL in that fight. 12.5k coming out of Moo.
Those shadow waves on the PL have been insane.
Yeah. And I think the critical difference in this fight, there's a couple of things that happened. First of all, Gunnar went on. He was the first target, right? So he's going to go in here and start off the fight. And he has the BKB. And he's tanking quite a lot of spells here and a lot of damage, right? From Timado. Forces out his ult. He gets graved and he gets to reset. This is what Nouns want in the fight, is for Gunnar to be able to do this with confidence so that they can just make the fight chaotic, make it long, and then PL ultimately will start building up. The hookshot from Lelis is crucial here, killing off Shadow Demon. You need to kill the support first, right? At the very least one of them. And then the fight can open up suddenly. That's what happens. So.
And that was with 2 eggs being used, so now the refresher shard is gone. Although, looks like Ari is... Well, he's going to finish his Boots of Bearing first, but then refresher will be next on the list if he's able to get to that point. And K1, who now has 2 kills and 2 assists, actually, will be consuming his axe shortly. Very lackluster cheering.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be consuming the axe for an eventual Swift Link. And then Moonshard is next, of course. And then I think he's done at that point. Maybe a pocket Boots of Travel.
True.
Not ready to go here as Bryle's going to get some Lotus Flowers to consume.
That
one
was
is top net worth in the game.
That team fight was about a 12,000 net worth swing.
Yeah,
so
that was huge.
that is absolutely huge for Nouns. Obviously, not out of the woods yet. This is still an extremely close game, so this kind of team fight win, while nice, isn't going to cut it for them, but it will open up for a bit more aggression, it seems. The confidence here to push in through bottom.
Oh, we're going to have a fight up top. Pulverize is there. A blast coming in.
That's a big
It's not
one.
really going to connect because Gunnar is already dead.
Under attack.
No grave for him there. Dazzle is
But
covering
K1
EL bottom.
That's a force of fortification. Going to have to come back to their base here pretty shortly.
Radiant's
Doppelganger
bottom
away
tower is
potentially is
under attack.
Kasane.
Radiant's
Get some
bottom
axes
tower
action
is
with those
under
drums of Slam going to work as well as Bryle. Nice onslaught. Can they find the correct Phantom Lancer? There's the Sheep to try to keep him at bay. Another Doppelganger onto the high ground. But no, K1's actually stuck on a low ground. He gets unlucky, but you can see the Primal Beast actually going for the wrong target. And now, finding the Primal Roar.
They found him.
Sunray is there. K1, he is dead. No buyback on this Phantom Lancer. 100 seconds he has to wait.
That play from Nouns is...
High risk.
It's super high risk. You're splitting your team in half 50 minutes into the game. You're sending PL to push bottom and covering him with Dazzle, which means you're leaving your Earth Spirit vulnerable top. And ultimately what happens is Earth Spirit dies, TSM have a power play, and they're just going to collapse on bottom as soon as they can. Very well played by Kasane there to just be patient, isolate the right PL, get that roar with the Sunray, and find that kill. I think Grave was not available for Mu there. He maybe wasn't in range. And then it is a big one. They don't know he doesn't have buyback, but you know they're absolutely going to try to force it out if he does have it. So 100%. The play is the same regardless.
50 seconds. Roche is back, so they have something to fall back to if they choose to go down that road. But like you said, 5v4, whether they know it or not. Oh, Timado actually goes to the high ground, trying to take out the Dazzle, but he's able to find enough distance to get away. But the Primal Roar onto Gunnar. There's the Grave from afar. Nicely done from Mu. A blast is coming in. Timado stuck inside the cogs, but I think it's Lelis that's actually stuck inside there instead, as he is completely surrounded. Will likely be the first casualty, but the Grave comes in at the last moment again from Mu. No one is dying from Nouns because of this freaking Dazzle. And just like that, TSM have to pull away. 13 seconds from K1. And now I don't even know if they get Roche for free anymore.
That's a really good hold. No casualties. They didn't lose any barracks in this 5v4. 50 minutes in, this is usually the recipe for losing at least one lane, but they hold out. And yeah, their heroes are just stupidly tanky, right? Gunnar has a heart. Lelis has a heart on the clock.
Okay, okay.
They're sending these tanky heroes in front and just keeping them alive with the Dazzle and buying time.
Oh, overclock. Get out of his way.
Yeah, trying to
Gonna
find
get some
something.
vision. Bryle trying to cut them off at the source. Throwing rocks in his frustration will actually hit Gunnar.
Coming in.
Now that the overclock is ending, maybe this is the path for TSM to potentially take this Roche, but it will be difficult.
Mu is taking care of top wave in the meantime, so TSM do see at least one hero on the map right now, and they know the PL illusions are here too. But yeah, Dazzle with the Travels level 2 will always be able to connect. Also with the Arcane Blink picked up on Mu, a classic super late game Dazzle item is in this patch.
Oh yeah, that one's dirty. That is such a dirty item for this hero.
So
now that it
effectively,
heals and gives mana each time you blink.
You're kind of Tinker in a way.
A poor man's Tinker, a less disgusting Tinker, some would say.
That's up for debate.
Yeah, true. So one. Keeping this wave pushed perpetually. Bryle will take it out with Trample as well. So these creeps are not passing this location as Roshoff number X of this TI continues.
A1 is just cutting the wave. He has no cares.
All right, Rosha 10 from TSM.
They can keep rocket spamming it though. They should get the information, but actually 10-second
Radiant's
cooldown now.
bottom
'Cause
barracks are under
Blast is coming though.
yeah, okay.
Roche will take all that damage.
Hard to get in here.
Man, such a pivotal moment in this game. It could be the end of TSM's run if they lose this potentially.
Dire are scanning.
Back into the pit they go. There, the Muerta ult comes to push in, and look at the damage. They're gonna get some vision thanks to the rockets. Roche has died, and TSM will claim the rewards that come with it. Gunnar and company, do they actually want to continue to fight this? They have all the vision in the world, as Bryle's gonna onslaught to the other side, pops the uproar as well.
No ulti on
Timado.
Muerta is a big deal here.
That's
You've
true.
got to be careful if you're TSM. You committed that to get that Roche kill. So now it's time to kite.
Continually being harassed by these illusions that seemingly never end. They're rolling onto Ari. Can they take out the Phoenix before an egg can be consumed? But no, the disruption comes out. A blast is coming. An early grave on the Gunnar just to make sure that he's okay. As Timado doing a lot of damage from the high ground. It looks like Gunnar's going to die inside the pit. The AA dies as well. And Nouns will likely have to try to fall back. Only having 3 members available. 2 buybacks are there, though, for Nouns if they really want to use them. Another overclock used as Timado. Not able to get the stun off there, so the TP is successful.
What a nice sequence from TSM. They get the Roche, they get these 2 kills. They bide their time because it's a moment of vulnerability when Muerta doesn't have ult. Sure, you have the Aegis, but it's still kind of scary. You're cornered in the bottom right corner of the map. You know the enemy has vision of you, but they're just buying the time they need. And they find that, you know, Gunnar goes in on the Phoenix. I think he was maybe expecting a little bit more backup from K1 on that. Obviously, the disruption came out, but maybe they could have killed the egg together, as a matter of fact, there if they would have popped everything on it. But
K1 trying to solo defend this for now. Timado and Kasane making, I would say, short work of the illusions. That wasn't really that easy. Now pounding on the tower. Can now hold this. Again, they do have their buybacks intact, but don't want to use them if they don't have to. Tier 3 towers dead.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Sunray expended from TSM side.
this is
These
so
illusions never
obnoxious.
end.
I really feel for TSM here with push.
Oh, big pulverize coming in with a nice clockwork.
Oh, they got Kasane with it!
Kasane's deep inside the base, and he's dead. No Beastmaster. Could buy back as well. I'm sure most of the buybacks in this game are intact overall. Now, absolutely no mana whatsoever on Bryle, and he gets destroyed. So not only do Nouns get 2 kills, they don't have to buy back to be able to hold that.
Yeah,
Now
seems like
Ari on the run.
it's so frustrating, right? You really feel for TSM when they're pushing this high ground. How
Silence
hard
there
it
from
is.
Gunnar. Timado with the calling.
It's kind of forcing some errors, right? Miscommunication there about what the plan really was. You have Beastmaster and Primal diving a little bit into the base while everyone else is disengaging away from the PL
Radiant's
and
middle tower
Dazzle
is under
spam.
attack.
And ultimately,
Oh my goodness.
of course.
We have a Divine Rapier on Timado.
Well, we don't. We have it on his courier.
His courier has Divine Rapier. That is a powerful courier.
Here it comes. What's he gonna swap out? It's gonna be the BKB and the
Radiant's
Pike
middle
for now.
tower is under attack.
Has to be-
Radiant's middle tower
Has to be quick on his
fallen.
inventory management.
Yes.
There's some really important items
A1,
in his backpack
are they going to
here.
give up this set of racks is the question. Again, TSM
Radiant's
have
middle
both their
barracks are
buybacks, but they
under
might
attack.
just hold off on using them.
I think those 2 buybacks are worth more than 2 lanes. This late into the game,
Radiant's
Yeah,
middle
having
would
2
agree.
cores without
fallen.
buyback is extremely dangerous.
Timado's Rapier will not be a surprise factor at all. Now K1 focusing on bottom.
Radiant's bottom barracks has
And
fallen.
looks like you're right. They will be giving up 2
Radiant's
sets of
bottom
racks.
barracks are under attack.
We'll see what they can do with this Divine Rapier. We're still a minute and a half on that Aegis as K1 looking to pick a fight right now. Might just need to focus on the barracks and be happy with that. The rocket players come out. That is the overclock from the clockwork. As looks like they'll be able to defend this melee racks in the end. My goodness, the items
Lelis.
coming out.
Lelis
Wind
with a
Waker. What is
big pickup
These
here.
items are ridiculous.
This is actually a really key item here because if You can save from Roar unless the Demonic Purge is on top as well, right? So you kind of need to stack your spells.
Yeah.
It gives him a way of disengaging from the fight himself now. When he hooks in, if he sees a bad moment, he can just reposition out. On top of his, obviously he already has the jetpack, but that kind of depends on you not being stunned.
Incoming!
Whereas the Wind Waker, as long as you get it off, you can't get stunned during it. The utility through the roof here for Nouns. And AA is close to a refresher.
Oh.
Yamsun wants this. That is a
It's
very
Torment
big
time.
late game item.
It's not Torment time anymore. It's just gold.
No, it's a very short Torment time.
The fact that Gunnar's not 25 yet, in fact, quite surprising.
The fact that we're 58 minutes in and you haven't talked about it.
Players here!
I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, you know? Every
do.
time we do that, the game ends within 10 seconds.
Not true. We had TF5s yesterday.
And one fight and then the game was over.
I mean, that's generally how they work, right?
Sometimes.
A lot.
I think especially with a rapier in the game, that's probably how it will go. Whoever wins the next fight should be victorious.
It really, it so much comes down to these buybacks, right? Because the buyback status is everything in a game like this. It means if one team has all buybacks and the other one doesn't, and a huge fight breaks out and it turns into like a 10v7, you know, that's generally where games are ended. So I think all heroes at this point should really look after their buyback. And the problem right now that TSM are facing is after buying the rapier, Timado doesn't have it for another 1700.
I mean, if he loses the rapier, I think the game should be over, sure.
That's fair, I suppose.
Then again, Nouns don't really have the greatest
It's
rapier
pretty good on
carrier.
it's pretty good on Dazzle with the Ag Shadow Wave.
Oh, that's true.
Fires an auto.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's
Yeah.
actually quite a lot of damage.
Damn.
Radiant are scanning.
I'd love to see that. Yeah, PL with the Divine.
Yeah.
Apply to the illusions at all. All right, dead even game. 59 minutes and 20 seconds. Now we will start discussing tier 5 items.
Okay.
What's a good one? What's a good tier 5 item this game?
Book of Shadows is insane against Beastmaster. It really messes with that hero.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one that Nouns would want one of, if not even two. Judging from how these fights have gone so far, I think Arcanist's armor is also going to be very interesting.
Now, I feel like nobody goes for that
But
one.
you only want one, right?
Right.
But I just, these fights are just a mess. Like, there's so much damage flying around everywhere all the time, so I would at least say TSM should consider investing into one. Just think about how much damage is being spread around, right? It's ridiculous. Rockets, spam from PL, spam from Dazzle, Earth Spirit Magnetized, that will be undispellable soon because he's almost 25. I can't believe Gunnar isn't 25, actually.
I said this already, but
Yeah,
thank you.
that is still kind of crazy.
Thanks for joining
It
us.
is equally crazy to when you pointed it out. It's actually crazier now because we're later in the game than when you said it.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You're right. It's been 1 full minute. All right, okay, Arcanist's armor.
There you go, Kasane.
Not ignoring
nice.
it for once. Very
good.
cool. Ex Machina on
Yeah.
Muerta.
Standard. Getting
So can
cooldown.
refresh the Divine Rapier. Very important.
Oh, nice.
K1 has the Giant's Ring.
Oh, that's a big.
That's a juicy
That
toy.
is a big clock in bottom lane.
Very nice.
That is.
So 2
here.
Giant's Rings.
Oh, baby, that is. He looks. I've never seen clock with this item actually. Looks menacing.
He's not quite 25 yet, but I wonder what he's going to go for. Is the Battery Assault Interval, perhaps? Or debuff immunity inside cogs?
Think of
Radiant's
battery.
middle barracks are under
Battery.
attack.
It's probably-
Radiant's middle barracks has
Probably the
fallen.
one. What else we got? Mirror Shield on the
Pirate
Dazzle.
Hat on Phoenix, the right-click machine that he is. Of course, the bounty runes are kind of a big deal, especially if you
Yeah.
think this game's going another 40 minutes, which could happen, of course.
And always the wild card item, Seer Stone on Yamsun, which has the potential impact of just winning the game off of the active.
Yep, increases the range of his Ice Blast as well, I believe. Right, Cinderin?
Amazing. But yeah, the 800 AoE vision has the potential to win. So it is, the potential is there. On the other side, we've got Ex Machina, like you mentioned. There's also Seer Stone and Shadow Demon. Force Boots the choice of Bryle. So not a single Book of Shadows was chosen. It's a bit surprising. I feel like both teams really benefit from this item. There's no way they weren't offered it with any of their 5 heroes, right?
Maybe it's too high skill an item for TI.
Yeah.
To be fair, it is a really difficult one to use.
But
I agree. We talked about this yesterday. I think it's the most, in theory, the most powerful tier 5 item.
it just, the potential is just incredible, right? And I think in this game, it's actually relatively simple to use compared to a lot of other games because, you know, you're either going to pop it on a Roar target if you're the Dire, or on the Radiant, you're going to pop it on the target PL is laying into, right? You have time to react. You know what you want to do with it. It's relatively telegraphed, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe the wrong heroes were offered it,
Boom!
but I would have
there it
definitely liked to
goes.
see at least one.
Radiant are
Roche up in
scanning.
8 seconds. They're actually scanning, so they have a good idea that Lelis is just chilling in the pit. Gunnar can be found as well. We'll dodge the rocks. Roche number 5. And this age is pretty important for the likes of TSM, especially with that Divine Rapier, which we haven't gotten to see too much of yet.
I think TSM's hexes are equally important. They really need to find this Dazzle and just blast him. He has Lincoln's and Mirror Shield though, so good luck. But
Oh, pulverized to start. AA blast coming in from Yamsun. It's going to connect on the Primal Beast, pop the BKB. Gunnar pops his own and jumps right in, gets the refresher up, but shortly after is Roar, but a nice grave from afar as Moo keeping him healthy, trying to get off to the other side, but he's going to continue to get stunned.
Braved again.
Braved again, number 2, trying to roll out, but Kasane's body is just too thick to get through, and Gunnar has died. We'll buy back and instantly try to TP here. Now big fight that Lelis inside the colony right now. The onslaught coming in from the Primal Beast is K1, continuing to do a lot of damage with these illusions. Doesn't want to get too far in his Timado, still available with that Divine Rapier. Now trying to focus all his efforts on a Gunnar. He has his BKB again popped because he probably popped Ex Machina, which is a great movie, by the way. Is Moo going to be able to get the grave off on himself? He'll get to the other side, and that's going to be the next Gunnar. Die back for him, and just like that, it's a 5 versus 4 for TSM. We'll see if Nouns try to retreat in the process here as they've lost their mid laner. Bryle gonna spot Yamsun, somehow lives on Ancient Apparition, just a miracle. See the Wind Waker onto Lelis. Trying to find an avenue to be able to get out. Looks like he will not be pursued any further despite being extremely thick as mid lane. Has to be defended now. But knowing that that's a dieback, you have 90 seconds where you know for a fact it is 5 versus 4. The fact that Gunnar died twice, and if I'm not mistaken, nobody else died in that fight.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yep.
NA math and all, you can never trust that, but...
And now Nouns, because of this pressure mid that they put with K1, look to be grabbing themselves an Aegis here, 4v5 late game.
Okay, very normal.
I mean, the guy you wanted on is dead though. So, I guess it goes to
Shaman
Lelis?
has fallen to the dire.
Yeah, who takes
Lelis.
All right.
Okay, this will be the only time this TI Lelis gets to hold that unless he wins the tournament.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a Roche be conceded when it's 5v4 late game situation. That is so weird.
that is
Very weird.
truly a rarity, but this game has had plenty of those.
Indeed.
Clockwork Aegis, I wonder how many times that has happened at a TI. Probably less than 5.
Divine Rapier still there, and still no buyback, by the way.
Bottom lane is
Timado.
such a problem for TSM. They have to keep rotating heroes back to deal with this
K1.
A1 pressure. Lincoln's popped.
Okay.
It's a full pulverize.
Force moves there. See TP's coming in from Kasane. He gets off the Roar. Pulverize just lasts forever at this point. Trample doing a decent amount of damage, but now K1 can turn his efforts onto the rest of TSM because they can't tell who's real at this point. Like he's gonna get to the other side.
Dispersed and ran left. They saw it though.
Onto the Well of Eternity. Definitely not the real name, but we're gonna coin it that now as the Lincoln has popped again. K1 onto the high ground. He's trying to get. Of course, he can just walk through the terrain freely thanks to that tier 5 item brought to you by Valve Software. As K1 gets sheeped. Still pretty fast, but there's another pulverizer. Now Timado with the Divine Rapier rips him a new one. 90 seconds of no PL, but buyback remains. And during this entire process, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, Gunnar did spawn.
Yeah, and he also tipped K1.
Oh, very important, yeah.
Jumped the gun a little bit on that. He was like, good job, K1, and then he instantly died. So, you know, maybe not. Maybe wait until he's actually out. He really thought that was a clean escape. And honestly, it did look like it was going to be. Late game Dota is wild. Even being away 2,500 range is not enough against a Primal with Dagger, Hex, and a sick full duration Pulverize.
Ari has Aegis. He has Refresher Orb finally. We talked about that 20 minutes ago. Finally is a real item in his inventory. Very powerful on that hero. Bryle was poking Bottom racks.
Is
Try to
this
force
going to
the
be the
buyback.
time that TSM get a barracks?
I don't know. Hook shot in from Lelis. There's a buyback onto K1. They have to break right now to Crumple. Remember, he does have that Aegis intact. He's going to use the refresher for himself. Trying to go for a second roar as Timado's going to refresher for himself as well. He's being pursued onto the high ground into the enemy triangle. There's the first egg, I do believe, as Timado trying to save Kasane, but just dies to the illusions. Timado has kind of sustained his ground. Has to be really careful. This is the Divine Reaper we're talking about. The disruption to keep him alive a little longer, but beautiful call. Timado's dead. Divine Rapier on the deck. Who will pick it up? Whitemon gonna survive a little bit longer. Ari finally pops for pressure. There's the second egg, now being completely destroyed, and he is donezo. No buyback available. Divine Rapier now on the side of Nouns, and it is Dazzle, like you said. So Shadow Wave will apply his auto attack.
And
now he just needs a Daedalus for God's sake.
I love this. Mu also has one in his quick buy. Let's go for the double dip here.
Beautiful.
I think the crit's probably better, but you know, it's more fun, and Mu likes fun, so.
I mean, they don't know that there's no buyback on Muerta.
They're about to find out, because they're running straight down mid to try to force these buybacks. No buyback on Muerta, not on Phoenix.
Yeah, there's the first buyback this week onto Bryle. There's the fortification, likely to last the game for TSM if they can't defend this. Still 50 seconds without 4, maybe even 5 heroes here. That is NA math at its best. K1
Radiant's
getting with the illusion. There's already one tier 4 tower down. I don't think there's going to be anything to stop them as Bryle trying to make one last defense, because if they lose here, they're out of TI. There's the Lotus overflying him as Gunner's going to jump in with the BKB. Lelis getting a beautiful cog onto Kasane, cannot get off a roar, and the Ancient is fully exposed. K1 looking to finish the job. He started farming game, Cinderin, but now he finishes it.